Welcome to our GSV Cup winner spotlight. With me today, I have Ope Bukola, who is the founder and CEO of Kibo School, which is a new online university providing affordable and high quality STEM degrees to African students. The company and Ope recently secured a $2 million seed funding, which is super exciting. Ope herself has an incredibly impressive background in EdTech. Prior to founding Kibo, most notably led the product team for Google Classroom and worked as a product manager at Amplify Education. Also, last but not least, she is the winner of our 2022 GSV Cup. For those of you that don't know what the GSV Cup is, it's the world's largest global EdTech pitch competition for pre-seed and seed stage startups. So let's dive in. Ope, first of all, thank you for joining us. Tell us more about Kibo and the work that you're doing to help students in Africa.
Thank you for having me. So Kibo is a new online school, and we're really driven by this incredible demographic shift that's happening. So Africa is the youngest continent in the world. It's the fastest growing. But its education system is really crunched for capacity. There's just not enough spots for all the young people who need an education. So that's our goal, or what's driving our work at Kibo is how can we use the internet and this amazing technology to ensure that students everywhere, especially on the African continent, can get a great university education. So we are launching a bachelor's degree in computer science that will begin later this year.
That's amazing. And absolutely resonates with what we're seeing. Would love to know why now, though. Why is right now the right time for a solution like Kibo?
There are many things that make this a great time for Kibo. So one, as I said, is just the demographic shift towards Africa, whereas the rest of the world is aging. This continent is getting younger. So not just for Africans, but for everyone, we need to ensure that the future talent is well prepared. The other thing that makes this a great time to experiment in particular with online learning is that we're starting to see a lot of the infrastructure barriers that made this difficult to do previously. Those are getting improved. Not perfect by any means, but the continent's bandwidth is getting better. There are new undersea cables that are going live as we speak. There's a big one, Aquino, that landed a few months ago. So you're starting to see the cost of data come down, and that will continue. More and more people are going online. So it just makes sense that the capacity is there to do it infrastructure-wise. And then generally, I think as those of us in EdTech have seen, with the pandemic and everything that's happened over the last few years, we've made a lot of progress in thinking through how do we create dynamic online learning, not just watch a video or read some text, but we're starting to see great tools that make super collaborative, super interesting education happen. One example is collaborative coding. We use a great program, Replit, in many of our classes that just wasn't around a few years ago, but now you can collaboratively code together. So yeah, I think the demographic shifts in Africa, the improvements in infrastructure, the general improvements in online learning make this a really great time to launch Kibo.
Absolutely. And like all those things you said will really help scale a solution like Kibo where, prior to this shift, it might have been more difficult. So it's really, really great. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about your recent fundraise. Would love to hear what the fundraise process was like and how you broadly plan to allocate these funds.
Sure. So it's first time kind of raising from institutional investors. So it was very informative. I learned a lot in the process of talking about Kibo, in the process of meeting investors. So broadly, I think it went really well. So we started out like many startups, really reaching out through our own networks, right? So for me, it was the network of folks that I worked with previously in EdTech and investors who invested in EdTech. We had previously raised a small friends and family round. So our angel investors were really helpful in connecting us to others as well. And our goal was to really not just find any money, but to find money that feels well aligned to our mission. So we talked to education investors. We talked to a lot of people who are interested in impact, so doing good and doing well. And we also talked to folks who are interested in the African continent and emerging markets in general. And I feel really lucky. We have a great cadre of investors. Our lead investor is Neo. It's a VC firm and community that's really dedicated to building up future technologists. Ali was one of the co-founders of Code.org, so extremely well aligned for what we're doing. We have Pledges, Future Africa, Brooklyn Bridge Ventures, Transcend Network, all great funds that fund early stage companies, that fund companies that are building the future of learning and work, and then a bunch of amazing angels as well. So it all kind of came together, I would say, in about 3 months or so of lots and lots of conversations and pitches and re-pitching. And then in terms of how we plan to allocate the funds, it's all hiring. So we're launching the degree program in October. So we're going to spend most of this money is like beefing up our faculty, beefing up our technology team, really our student success team, really ensuring that we can give students an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm. And then would love to know, so, you were announced as an Elite 200 winner in January, this past January. And then you went through the whole process, the whole pitch competition, and ended up being selected as the winner of the GSV Cup in April at the ASU+GSV Summit. Would love to know, if at all, kind of did this help with the energy around the fundraise, and would just love to know more about that experience.
Yes, so fundraising is a momentum game for sure, and we got huge momentum from the GSV Cup win. So it was great. It actually just closed our lead going into GSV Cup. So we had about 50% or so of the money we were looking to secure committed. But being able to come back from that whirlwind week and say, we have a lead investor, and also we just won $250K in this big competition, it really gave us a lot of momentum and credibility. So I definitely credit that experience with helping the round come together the way it did.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And I guess besides the energy around the fundraise, what are some other benefits that you kind of experienced going through that journey, going to the summit? Would love to hear more about that as well.
Yes, I think, even in preparing for the summit as a founder, you're constantly telling the story of the work and what you're doing. So having to create, I think it was a 2.5-minute pitch for the top 20,
Very short.
and then a very extremely short. Oh man, that one was rough to to get it down. But having to create that pitch and then the slightly longer pitch, just becoming more comfortable telling our story, especially when I'm in fundraising mode of pitching, that was amazing. So just the learning experience from going through it was great. And then being there and having an opportunity to talk about the company and have people hear from us, in the 20 stage and the top 3, it led to a lot of really interesting conversations, not just for fundraising purposes, but honestly for partnerships, people who are in universities doing similar online programs, other founders who've been really helpful. So that network that it helped me kind of solidify and build was very, very helpful. And lastly, the experience just this year at the ASU+GSV Summit was really fun because there were a good number of African-focused companies there. I had the opportunity to be on a panel, and so connecting with other African innovators who I don't think typically make it to ASU+GSV was also really powerful, and those relationships have continued to be really helpful.
That's amazing. And so, the GSV Cup had over 800 applicants, and that number was narrowed down to 200, then narrowed down to 23, and then you were the ultimate winner. So what's some advice you would give to, startups that are planning to apply for the 2023 GSV Cup?
Well, first of all, you should apply. I really wasn't sure whether or not to apply. I think I waited very classically till the last minute. But of course, I'm so grateful that I did. So even if you have some doubts, just go ahead and apply. I think the GSV Cup application is really straightforward and it's authentically telling your story. And especially for the pitch, you're sort of given, the 5 Ps, people, purpose, products, the things that the judges are looking for. So make sure you tailor your story to that. Sometimes when you're pitching a lot, you're kind of like, you become a bit of a robot and you just want to do the pitch the way you always do the pitch. So perhaps the only advice I would give is ensure that you tailor it and you really hone in on the areas that the judges are interested in.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, so this has been amazing. Just to wrap it up, we're going to do a quick rapid fire. I'm just going to give you short phrases around, your GSV Cup experience, and would love for you to just say one word that comes to mind, top of mind, can be totally honest. All right, so are you ready?
All right. I am ready.
Okay, application process.
Smooth.
Okay. The Elite 200 announcement.
Delightful.
The ASU+GSV Summit.
Overwhelming.
Pitching live on Stage X.
Nerve-wracking.
And then finally, winning first place of the GSV Cup.
Shocking.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you, Ope, so much for taking the time to share your story and to share all the amazing work you're doing with Kibo School. We're so happy to have you as part of the GSV family and so excited to kind of follow along on this journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone at GSV. It was a really amazing experience. And even minus the GSV Cup, the conference in general was just so wonderful and powerful and an amazing way to regather with a lot of people after a long time. So thank you for all the work that you do.